Hello, happy April, everyone. Welcome to your Bankruptcy Nerd Alert for March 2026. And I also have Q1 numbers for 2026 to see where we're at comparatively quarter over quarter. As you all may know or may not know, I do like to compare year over year numbers because the timing of the year is often interesting when it comes to bankruptcy, and month over month may not be as informational as when you look at the previous year's numbers because of the different ways things work. And I have a good example of that here on my very first one as we jump in here. So let's share my lovely slides, and I will turn off my video so I'm not distracting us. So Bankruptcy Nerd Alert, March 2026 and Q1 of 2026. As a reminder who I am Jen Lee, aka the Bankruptcy Nerd. I teach lawyers how to add bankruptcy to their practice areas, run streamlined bankruptcy practices, do support staff training, and do all kinds of nerdy things when it comes to law practice and innovation. So check me out, lawyersuccessnetwork.com. Jumping into the numbers, commercial chapter 11s. So March 25th through March 26th. 11% decrease in commercial chapter 11s. You're like, oh, interesting. Well, that must mean that, commercial chapter 11s are going down. Remember how you can make numbers say whatever you want them to say? This is a good example of that, because what happened in March of 2025 was there were a bunch of filings that were related to each other. And we've talked about related filings before. And so in March of 2025, there were a number of related filings that actually increased the numbers for March of 2025. And there weren't that many related filings in March of 2026. So while it looks like the numbers overall decrease, if you look at the actual individual entities filing, it was an increase, but the numbers look like a decrease. Subchapter 5, on the other hand, from March 2025 to March 2026 was a 48% increase. Again, no related filings usually with subchapter 5s. And we are seeing that crunch on small businesses that continues to happen with these huge increases year over year with subchapter 5. So already getting very nerdy with this. Individual chapter 7s, as expected, we saw a 20% increase from March of last year to March of this year. Keep in mind that February, March, and April are bankruptcy filing season because people get their tax returns done, the tax refunds come in, and they can pay their lawyers. So it is a busy time of year, generally speaking, for bankruptcy attorneys who work in the individual space. So up 20%. Chapter 13's increase was about 10%. Again, holding pretty steady in the 8 to 10% increase. And I always remind everyone every month that chapter 13s require income in order to make them work. And so sometimes it depends on what the economy is doing and jobs are doing, whether chapter 13s are viable or not. Total individual filings, March 25 to March 26 was a 17% increase, which makes sense if we look at the individual chapter 7s being up 20% and the chapter 13s being up 10%. Generally speaking, there's about 75% of filings for individuals are chapter 7 and 25% are chapter 13. So it will be closer to the chapter 7 number usually. So nothing super surprising with the individual filings from March to March. Now I get to get a little bit nerdy because the Q1 numbers all came in as well, which compares January to March of 2025 to January to March of 2027. And I did throw them all up here on one screen because while I'm nerdy, I'm also efficient with my time. And so if we look at the filings, commercial chapter 11s are up. All of these are increases. So there were no decreases on this. Commercial chapter 11s are up 37% Q1 2026 over Q1 2025. Subchapter 5s are up 67%, which does not surprise me. We've seen like between 50% and 80% increases the last few months in subchapter 5s. Chapter 7s were up 17%. Chapter 13s are up 8% year over year on the quarter. Individual filings are up 17%. And all bankruptcy filings, with the total number of bankruptcy filings, are up 14%. So these were all increases quarter over quarter for January to March of 2025 to January, March 2026. So what we would expect to see here is what I'm seeing, because every month we've been talking about the double-digit increases over last year. So super nerdy there. Just a reminder, I do run Bankruptcy Toolbox, which is all kinds of content that's updated regularly for people who are bankruptcy nerds like I am. So check out Bankruptcy Toolbox, and it is on our website at lawyersuccessnetwork.com. And then finally, if you're looking at adding bankruptcy to your practice from start to finish, I have a fully recorded access, can teach it to you in about 15 hours, and you also get Bankruptcy Nerd mentoring and all kinds of fun stuff with that. So stay tuned for more bankruptcy alerts. I do this every month and sometimes in between when some interesting news comes out about the economy. My name is Jen Lee, aka the Bankruptcy Nerd. Thank you all.